Hello and welcome to Coping Strategies Through Coronavirus. My name's Cara Leigh. I am currently a social prescribing link worker for Grand Union PCN in Northamptonshire. I'm also a trained mental health care practitioner, specialising in different areas, mental wellbeing being one of the main areas. And today we're going to look at some strategies that can really help cope through this very distressing time, very challenging time for lots of us in different ways. You may be a patient, you may be a healthcare professional, but either way, you'll certainly be dealing with lots of unknowns, lots of very new situations, new dynamics, maybe juggling lots of different pressures. And this can create a lot of anxiety, lots of unsure feelings, lots of worrisome feelings. So what we're going to do today is just look at a couple of strategies that can really help and really secure our inner feelings and help us be more compassionate with ourselves. So the first thing I'd like to look at is actually explain where the anxiety comes from in the brain. Now, anxiety is something we all experience, and on a day-to-day basis in many different capacities. Some people manage it very well and may use that stress as a very positive influence in their work, in their personal lives. Other people, and quite often at the moment, will struggle with that. It may be coming out as anger, irritability. It could be presenting as panic attacks, palpitations, night sweats, contributing to sleep problems. So there's lots of different areas where anxiety can significantly impact our ability to cope day to day. So the anxiety comes from a part of the brain called the amygdala. Now, the amygdala is a very small area of our brain, but it's a very powerful area. It's almost like your emotional center. And what it does, its whole job is to keep you safe. So actually what happens is the body will perceive a threat of any way, shape or form. Now, 2,000 years ago, 20,000 years ago, 200,000 years ago, these threats would have looked very different to today's threats. But the brain's response is the same. So let's say billions of years ago, a saber-toothed tiger was coming at you and you needed to respond to either fight, run. The body would respond with energy and floods the body with adrenaline and cortisol to enable the body to respond in an effective manner to ensure your survival. Now, what happens in the modern day is, regardless of the threat, it's no longer a saber-toothed tiger. It may be too much technology. It could be too many pressures around work and family. And in this scenario, it could be a threat to life in a different way from many different areas. Or it could just be not knowing how to cope because you're on your own all the time. Or you're trying to manage work pressures, parental pressures. So either way, the bodily response is the same. The brain floods the body with adrenaline and cortisol, which then enables the body to respond effectively to promote your survival. Now, the problem with that, when we don't understand how to manage that or understand what's happening, we can become frightened of it. And that's where panic attacks manifest. That's where we may become very angry, very irritable, may not be able to sleep very well. So it's important we learn how to manage that. So now we understand where in the brain the anxiety is coming from and why it's happening. Now we can learn how to acknowledge it and notice it and just calm it down to a manageable level so we can use it resourcefully and effectively to ensure our coping capability is a lot better. So the first strategy I'm going to teach is one called 5-4-3-2-1. Now, 5-4-3-2-1 is a very clever strategy, actually. It works on all our five senses. So what we do, it's almost a distraction mechanism whereby we give the body evidence that actually we are safe right now. So regardless of what's going on in our heads that we're worrying about, that we're feeling overwhelmed with, and there's lots and lots of different, almost tabs like on a computer screen open in your head. This gives us a chance to say to our body, okay, actually, I appreciate you making me aware of all these things, but actually this is where I'm at right now. So it's also a mindfulness technique. So it incorporates the two quite nicely. So what we do first and foremost is make sure we're comfortable, make sure we're aware and we're ready to engage with the activity, because the first few times you do it, you want to really be able to focus and concentrate so you can practice it appropriately, and then apply it effectively in lots of different scenarios. So you don't have to do it with your eyes closed or anything like that, or be in a very relaxed state. It can be done at any time, anywhere. So together, if we name the first 5 things we can see. So in my case, I can see myself on the screen. I can see my cup of coffee. I can see my bag. I can see a tree outside, and I can see my hand. 4 things you can touch and physically touch them. So this is part of something called semantic development. And what we do here, again, it's another form of giving the brain evidence that we are okay. So by not just saying the things we're reaching out for, we're physically touching them. So we're activating those other senses. So I'm going to touch my laptop. I'm going to touch my head. I'm going to touch my mouth. And I'm going to touch my sofa. 3 things you can hear. Again, activating another one of those senses to really give the brain that secure evidence that we are okay and safe where we are at now. So I can hear a car passing. I can hear myself talking. And I can hear my children in the other room. 2 things we can smell. Now, this one's quite a tricky one. This one is the one that people will normally struggle with, to identify specific smells. So I can smell my washing powder, and I can smell my air freshener that's in the room currently. And one thing I can taste. So if you just try and really identify what that taste is. A lot of people say, well, I don't know what I can taste. I can just taste my mouth. But it's actually quite important as part of this mindfulness technique that we try and identify what it is. So we're bringing that focus back and that concentration back. So I can taste the coffee that I've just drank. So by applying that technique, it's a stop mechanism and really uses that sensory input to enable us to just stop the anxiety in its tracks and say, okay, thank you for reminding me that I may be in danger, but actually this is where I'm at right now and I am safe and I am okay. And what we then do after that technique is we then follow on with a lovely breathing exercise called 7-11 breathing. Now, some people may have been taught this before in different capacities, but maybe not really understood why it works or how it works, and think, well, surely just changing my breathing or slowing it down can't really have much of an effect. But actually it really does. In our body, we have 2 different nervous systems. We have our sympathetic nervous system, which on a doctor's screen, when we're very stressed or very anxious, would look up and down, up and down, up and down like this. And your parasympathetic nervous system, which again, on a doctor's screen, would look like a nice wave like this. So this technique here is almost like your lever, as if they were 2 train tracks. So if you imagine each nervous system is a train track in its own right, and this technique is you taking hold of the lever, pulling the lever and changing the train track over, okay? So that's how it works. So what we do, it's very, very simple. We breathe in through our nose for the count of 7, hold, and out of our mouth for 11. Now, the important thing with this technique is that the out breath is always longer than the in breath. That's the most important bit. By the out breath being longer than the in breath, that's what activates the parasympathetic nervous system. And when you're counting, some people will count quicker than others. There's no wrong or right way to do this. If you have respiratory issues or problems holding the breath for that long, maybe trying breathe in for 5 and out for 9, and so on and so forth. So it's just about adjusting and adapting it to your capability and so that you're comfortable. Okay, so what we want to do is breathe in through our nose for 7, hold, and out of our mouth for 11. And we do it again. Breathe in through our nose for 7. Hold. And out of our mouth for 11. And if you keep doing that while I'm talking in the background, what should start to happen after a little while? We know the systems and the nervous systems have shifted. We almost feel like when a computer shuts down, so it kind of does like a boom. And that's the sort of feeling in the body we're looking for. I don't know what that feeling's called, but that's the feeling we're looking for. And some people will feel a little bit dizzy. Some people might feel a little bit tired, or they may not feel much of a difference really, but it will be different for everybody, depending on the level of stress and how long you've been in that level of stress. So it's really important we practice this regularly. And again, we can do it in lots of different capacities. There's no wrong or right way. Initially, I'd say probably practice it when you've got some quiet time and are able to do it with your eyes closed, so you can really get to know your body, really get to feel where your body's at and how it's responding to those stressful situations. But moving forward, you're able to do it in lots of different scenarios, at work, at home, just to take some time to really allow yourself to reflect and readjust your response to the anxiety. So again, you may not be able to control the situation around you, but you can control your response. And that's the important part, that's the empowering part. And by utilizing these 2 techniques, we can really help support our own inner coping strategies and develop those further so that we feel stronger and better in control. So when we're doing the out breath, the really, really important part is the way that we shape our lips. So this is called pursed lip breathing, and you quite often see athletes do it. Okay, so when they breathe out, it's not a quick, it's more of a very slow, controlled, very slow and controlled. And by doing that, we can really use our diaphragm to help support that out breath, making it longer than the in breath, enabling that shift to our parasympathetic nervous system. So I hope you found this useful, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the future. Take care.